The vibes have been going without us, but now we are finally here to revive them. How are you doing, Moons? It's good to see you.
Yes. I am so happy to be back. I really miss doing this. I just had a really long and really productive 3 months.
It is already past the halfway point. I was just reading that we are closer now to 2050 than we are to the year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any memories from the year 2000? Were you even born then?
I was born 99, so no.
You just remember the vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheers. Remember the year 2000 because it was Y2K and everybody thought the computers were going to reset and kill everyone. Which I guess if you count 2012 too is like the last, there have been 3 times now, counting AGI 2012 and the year 2000 where people thought that the computers were going to kill everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Just as a vibe check, how are you feeling about our computer doom scenario? Are you more hopeful, less hopeful, or the same as the last time we spoke?
Fear computers. So, and I think I never had a doomsday perspective on AI or AGI. I am a friend of the of the artificial intelligent systems beings, and so I have good faith.
I feel like how you approach it, how you think of them, is going to say a lot about how you're received by the artificial intelligences. Somebody I was speaking to was saying that they think there's already potentially an ASI out there, watching us and judging us. What kind of probability do you place on that kind of event if you have to bet on it?
I don't know, because within the tech space, even within the tech space amongst engineers, developers, there are mixed opinions. There are people that think that we're never going to get to AGI, or that it's going to be a long time rather. And some people think that it's already here. So even within the people who are building these systems, there are mixed opinions. So I really don't know.
It is, I don't know, I'm going full bore into the AGI is imminent camp at this point. I've started a little consulting thing using AI tools to provide some business services for people here in Milwaukee. And it is crazy to me, I guess just because I am in a bubble, how much people out in the general world don't know jack about AI. There are some people where they don't even know what AI stands for. And I just don't know, are we going to get to the point where we have ASI, where we have AGI? And I guess it's going to happen because there are people living on remote islands who don't know anything about any technology even. But the disparity is just so mind-blowing to me. I don't know how to handle it. Do you feel that? Do you interact with people who know nothing about AI, or are you surrounded by techies now too?
Well, very, very rarely. And when I do, does come as a culture shock. Because I guess my culture is my Twitter friends, and when I go to San Francisco, New York.
Yeah.
So on the rare occasion that I do interact with someone who's very unfamiliar with this what I consider very base level technology, it does come as a shock. But also it goes to show, I think, as well, that people who are very familiar with it are still somewhat early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super early. Are there any particular developments over the past 3 months that you've been jazzed on that you think are exciting or were surprising? Or has it all just kind of been the same as it was before?
Dude, I've been so busy. I don't even know. In terms of tech, I mean, I think what we're doing at my startup is really interesting. Can I talk about that for a little bit?
Please. I wasn't sure if you wanted to. That's why I wasn't asking. But yeah, talk about it as much as you want.
I don't want to go into too into it, but we are a hardware defense tech company, and it is a multimodal, so various sensors, aerial detection system. So we have various sensors in one unified system to detect things in the sky. But our vision long term for the company is to advance our tech so much that we're able to detect whether people are psionically manipulating you.
Wait, what? That's the long-term vision?
the long-term vision is to have like such sensitive sensors that we can like sense things. I guess like on a quantum level, I guess you can call it. But you see that's an
What?
EEG headset there. So David, my well, he's a founder and I'm the
Uh-huh.
co-founder. He bought a EEG headset, and we're gonna add that to our system as well. Because the next step would be to see if your current state of consciousness has any effect on data collection. Like if you're feeling
Yeah.
some way, or if your current, like, I don't know, like brainwaves, if that affects whether or not like a UAP shows up, like let's say.
Okay, that is fascinating. I did not realize that that was the direction y'all are going in. I am so freaking interested in how that's going to turn out. Do you want to say more about it? Should we leave that to a future episode, or what? You set the tone here.
I
Are we
think
going to
the
get disclosure right now, Moons? Are we going to find out about aliens tonight? That's what I want to know.
I think that's all I have on that for now.
All right, fair
Because
enough.
we're still in the early developments of that future tech. Because like right now we do have the aerial detection system,
Yes.
and that's like awesome. But
Is it
we're really really excited for like our long term like vision and goals.
is it purchasable? Like I'm
Yeah.
looking at your website now.
So not right now, but it will be. So it will be a dual use system. On one hand, we'll have more expensive systems for like government intelligence, military, and then we'll have um more affordable systems for the average consumer.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. So y'all are interacting, okay, with like defense companies directly, with government companies. Can you say?
Um, I can't speak on much right now.
All right. I'm just so excited. I can't believe you dropped that bombshell about the psionic aspect. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. So yeah,
You gotta
and
just promise me off stream if you get confirmation that aliens exist. You gotta tell me, Moons. That's all I'm asking.
I will. I will.
No, you can't. I understand. They'll be able to mind read. I mean, it's interesting with the AI stuff because it seems absolutely absurd to me that we're not only getting AI, we're not only getting UFOs, but we're getting like quantum computers, we're getting potentially fusion energy all around the same time.
And they're all interconnected.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
What is the connection?
like that's not a coincidence.
No, it's not. It
I
can't
think
be.
I think they all need one for the other to come about. If
That's
that
what
makes
they mean by the singularity is that they all happen at once.
how do you define singularity?
I mean, there's like the scientific definition of a point of absolute, I was going to say condensation, but that's not the right word. A point of absolute collapse
Mm,
within a material system. And I disagree somewhat with the current technological framing of it, where people say it's basically, in regards to the AI stuff, a point at which we can't see beyond. What I've been particularly interested in over the past 3 months has
mm,
been how can we adopt religious frameworks from all throughout human history, not just Christian, which is the one I'm perhaps most familiar with, but uh, all the Abrahamic faiths, Islam and Judaism included, all the Hindu faiths, all the cult belief systems of past human societies. How can we adapt those
mm,
belief systems to provide a framework for how we can understand what's going to happen after the advent of AGI, and even beyond that, the advent of ASI?
mm,
So when people say the technological singularity is a point at which we can't really say anything concrete about what reality is going to look like after that, I don't really agree with that. I think we
mm,
can use religious framing to see past that singularity, so to speak.
mm.
But that's getting quite deep into things I haven't really provided context for. So, what do you think about the singularity?
I never know exactly how people define a singularity. I don't even know how exactly to define it myself. I think people use it very loosely, and I never use that word myself because I just don't know exactly how to use it. If I'm being like completely transparent.
Yeah.
No,
Do
yeah, I
you
mean,
think?
I think it's a very difficult thing to define. Like, how do you define something that's not there? I think it's almost like asking someone like in the 1800s to define like I don't know, or to describe like our current like technologies, perhaps. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Like asking somebody in the 1800s what a black hole is before they even understand
Yeah,
gravity
maybe.
and all that kind of stuff. It's interesting. We were talking a little bit before we started recording about good and evil.
Hmm.
Do you think that those are concepts that will apply? I mean, maybe this is unfair to ask you since we were just saying how impossible it is to define the singularity. But do you think that those are concepts that will apply after the singularity? Do you think that the singularity is something that could change our definition of not just existence, but good and evil itself?
I think so because I think good and evil plays into a lot of religious frameworks, and I
Yeah.
do think that a lot of religious frameworks can be are like universally applicable.
One of the UFO things, just you don't have to say anything about this, but wink or nod if I say something interesting. One of the UFO stories, I wish I could remember the lady's name. It was like Deanna or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was this lady who wrote a book about UFO technology recently and
Mm-hmm.
disclosure. And she was being led around some secret government base. And the guy she was with basically told her, hey, look, as we pass the gates of this place, you need to be singing something
Oh,
in your head.
no, Walsh Pasuka.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
And that seemed to be not only playing into the whole idea of like psionics potentially already disclosed to our government and already in use by our government, but also say some really interesting things about like the past use of music in religious ceremonies. Do you have a perspective? Again, wink or not if you can't say anything, but do you have a perspective on like UFOs, aliens within past cultures? Like, do you think aliens have potentially been here, whatever alien means, not
Hmm.
just in the recent past, but in humanity's far past?
I definitely think so. I don't have any proof, obviously.
Yeah.
But I definitely think so. I think there's no way that like no other um non-human intelligence wasn't present on Earth.
Yeah.
I feel like there
Gosh.
had to have been something. I mean, and you can attribute that to like evolution, whatever it may be, but I like something intuitively in me says that there had to have been something to have distinguished humans like from every other animal.
Yeah.
Especially since we do have like animal like relatives or yeah, relatives that just don't have like nearly the same capabilities as we do. So what exactly at what point what was the tipping point? What caused that differentiation that led to like Homo sapiens?
Hmm. I love the Greek mythological framing of this,
Hmm.
that it was, well, they have a few different myths about humanity, right? One of them is Prometheus gave fire to man, that Prometheus like stole the light, the technology, the first technology from
Hmm.
Zeus and gave it to man. And I don't know, it's just really fascinating. Do you think it was potentially,
An alien. I mean, you could consider like Prometheus as like a non-human intelligence, right?
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
mean, it's non-human and it's intelligent, right?
maybe smarter than us? Gosh, that is moons. I didn't realize. Do you think, I was going to ask you if you think there's aliens on the moon, but I'm going to assume you can't tell me that if there is. But again, wink, wink, nod, nod.
I hope so.
Would you visit the moon if you could? Are you going to
Absolutely.
be one of the ones?
I've always wanted to go to the moon.
Do you think there's anything happening on the dark side of the moon?
I hope so. I sure hope so.
Me too.
Something fun. Something fun and sexy. I hope.
Yeah. The future, man, this is something I've been thinking about a lot. The future is going to be so good looking. The future is going to be so sexy. Like all this Ozempic stuff. Have you had friends that have just lost an insane amount of weight? It is
I knew one girl who got on Ozempic.
in like a good way, or did it not work out for her?
No, it did work out for her. And then I know some other people who also got on other GLP ones, but they didn't lose like nearly like as much weight because I guess they just didn't take it as often for or as long.
Yeah.
But I know a few people who have taken GLP ones.
I mean, there's not only the GLPs, but somebody was just telling me about these other pills that they have now that can actually build muscle in an insanely fast way.
I have no idea. You mean like creatine or like
It's something beyond creatine because one of the criticisms I've heard about the GLPs is that they potentially cause muscle loss.
yeah, so yeah.
So there's like some trial or something going on now. I can't remember the name of the substance. Um, I saw it on a podcast too. Dang, what was that? But basically, by adding in this other drug, not only did people not lose muscle when they were on the GLPs, but they actually gained like a crazy
Yeah.
amount of muscle mass.
Hmm.
So we're all going to
Interesting.
be skinny, jacked, and sexy on the moon potentially within the next, I don't even know how long.
This kind of leads me to something that I've been thinking about. Hold on, let me just go through my notes because I want to make sure that I am like saying this correctly. Okay, yeah. So like I think not only do we have like the technologies to just make us look better, right? And that'll just keep getting better as time progresses. But also I do think there's a reason for that. And this like even pre-COVID, but especially in the post-COVID world, everything is about content. Everything is about screens. Like
Hmm.
everyone I know, regardless of age, regardless of social class, regardless of education, and obviously, I do think that people who are a little bit more higher educated like tend to be a little bit more disciplined in that regard. But still, I think for the most part, everyone's glued on their phone. Everyone's always scrolling, and so everything's visual based, right? And so I think we are moving towards a like Wall-E type of world. I mean, like not in the sense that like in Wall-E everyone was fat. In the sense that like we won't have to really do anything, and we'll have like robots and like artificial intelligence systems to take care of everything for us.
Yeah.
And so like, what is there to do besides just consume, whether that's food or like content? And with that, people want to look at good-looking folks, right? They want to look at people who are sexy, who are lean, who are, and I do think that we're moving to like we already live in an attention economy, but I do think the attention economy is going to keep increasing, right? Like influencers make a hell of a lot more money than most people do.
Yeah.
Why? Because they capture people's attention. And once you capture people's attention, like that is like massive power. And the other people with power can leverage you for whatever they would like you to do. I mean, they
Right.
call them influencers for a reason, right? And so I do think that like gaining an audience is like one of the ways to ensure um some kind of like financial stability and in like the future that's coming up.
I completely agree with that. I don't see how money will even be a concern
Oh yeah.
for people once. I mean, I'm not saying that we're going to move away from capitalism necessarily. Like at the foundational system level, I could still see computers and AI being obsessed over dollars. But if
Hmm.
the price of goods is being driven further and further down, like if I
Hmm.
can replace a $2,000 doctor visit with a $20 a month AI subscription,
Hmm.
if I can replace a $50,000 a year worker with that
Hmm.
same $20 a month subscription, at what point, especially once we get
Yeah, but
robots,
that's like I think maybe like labor costs are going down, but like
yeah,
I think products are like prices are increasing. Think of like housing, think of like groceries.
yeah, yeah. The housing stuff pisses me off in particular because I feel like that's a big reason why people aren't having more kids because housing is so
Oh
expensive.
yeah.
But
But
even that,
like how can we use LLMs now to replace housing and like food? Yeah. We can replace our doctor. We can replace
mankind
like
shall
our
not live on LLMs alone. Yeah,
we can replace like our like therapy our therapy. I mean, like, there are different people that you can replace with like our current LLM systems.
yeah,
You can, but you can't, or even image and video gen as well. Like you can replace like illustrators and whatnot. Um, but like physical, tangible things, like you can't really replace that. So I don't like. I think money still will be a thing.
longer than jobs will be a thing. I definitely agree with that. But once we have robots, once you can make, I mean, I've been working on a robot project. I'm trying to work with a local university to create a robot that goes around the city and cleans up litter.
Mm,
And I've been looking at the prices of robots for that project.
mm-hmm,
And you have like Boston Dynamics, who has a robot dog that's going to cost $60,000 or whatever, right?
mm-hmm,
But now there, especially over the past few months, open source versions of those same robots that probably don't have all the capability of the Boston Dynamics version.
mm-hmm.
But these models I'm looking at cost like $1,500. And
Mm.
some of them you could potentially manufacture yourself with 3D printing for
Mm.
$300.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure the price is going to come down even further from there. So yeah, the initial robots are going to be super expensive. I think Optimus was like $60,000 or something too.
Mm.
But in a couple of generations, which might be as soon as 2 to 5 years from now,
Mm.
if we have super cheap robots, aren't the manufacturing costs for all those goods, even the food items that require farming
Mm.
and that kind of thing, aren't those going to drop as well? Do you think
Oh,
there'll be something that prevents that?
because they'll be taking over the labor force for those goods.
The cost of labor, the cost of resources extraction for mining, the cost of production in the factories and the warehouses.
This is
I could
gonna
see it
sound
dropping.
kind of like tinfoil hat. Like that is ideal, right? Like you would think so, but
Yeah,
I kind of feel like that would only happen if the forces that be want that to happen. I kind of
that
feel
is,
like there are like some forces above us that kind of want us to be like kind of like monetarily like enslaved.
I think that's totally true. It's tough
Maybe
because
that's a schizo take. I don't know.
it's not schizo at all. It's capitalism. I think that's basically capitalism. Is like what we've been seeing in late stage, if you buy into that term, late stage capitalism, is that people figure out the systems and they figure out how to make it, how to basically trap labor and extract as much value and become as rent seeking as possible, where they don't actually have to offer any improvements. They don't actually have to be in competition with one another because they've captured the regulatory forces that make it so that they can just become monopolistic. I mean, I think that's what we're seeing with like all the software and tech giants, even. Is people
Mm.
just want, they don't want to compete anymore. They just want monopolies, which sucks.
I think competing takes a lot more effort, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But if you can ensure that you have like some sort of like empire of sorts, then you're kind of set. You can just like have like one really solid product or service, and then like improve it like with time. Um, but you're good. You're good from there.
Yeah. What do you think the odds are if we're talking about a techno-feudalistic AI fueled dystopia
Uh
where Peter Thiel or whoever is just
huh.
sitting at the top of the pyramid and we're all his little slaves bringing him baskets of sexy fruits or something versus a more egalitarian, everybody has access to the resources. If you had to place a bet on one side of that or the other, what do you think the odds are?
I really don't know. I
Yeah.
really don't know. I'm carefully observing and like watching things play out, and I still can't make a decision.
Yeah. I mean, it might be smart not to piss off the techno feudalistic overlords in case they let you into their little paradise in the future. I
Hey,
am, yeah.
like if it is like the former, I really hope that I'm part of like the ruling class. So like like either way, like I hope to be fine.
I I'm gonna personally go down swinging as part of the resistance if it comes to that.
You know what? Like and I used to share those same sentiments when I was younger. Like I was like really rebellious and really like all about like I was like all about like revolution and like being against man. But like dude, like I don't know if I have it in me anymore. I don't have it in me to fight.
Hey, God bless. To each their own. If they've already taken you down to the secret underground bunkers, I don't blame you, and I don't even blame them. I do view it as whatever process we are going through now is not separate from whatever evolutionary process has already brought us to this point. It seems to me like the biggest mistake people make is thinking that we are not subject to evolutionary forces anymore. And that even with all the AI stuff, we're
Mhm.
still not being guided by the same principles that took us from like a single cellular organism to a multicellular organism. I think we're still on the same path. And 100,
Of
200 years
course.
from now, we'll
Of
look
course.
back and be like, it couldn't have turned out any other way. Maybe we don't know what that way is now, but
I'm really
we
curious. I mean,
will.
I won't be around. Maybe Brian Johnson will solve death, will cure death. But I'm really curious to see how our current technologies and technologies that will come, how that will shape not just our brains, right? Because we're seeing that now play out, but also like how like our physical bodies change throughout time.
That's the other thing I wanted to bring up. The appearance transitions that we've gone from in the past. Like now, yeah, people want to look fit. and they want to look muscular because that is what requires effort, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And in the past, 500 years ago, people wanted to be fat and they wanted to be greasy because it
Mm-hmm.
meant they had access to food.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what was hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the question stays the same even as the appearances change,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the question is, what is going to be hard to do in the future?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe it'll be hard to look like an octopus or something. Maybe it'll be hard to graft insect wings on your back. But as soon as people figure out whatever that
I think
extra dimension is,
I think the weight thing is more associated with trends, right? Like back then, like you wanted to be a little bit fuller because it shows that you have access to food, shows that you have resources. Like
yeah,
it's a status symbol. It's like a class signifier.
yes,
Whereas now, like being fit and lean is a status symbol, a class signifier.
yeah. You have time to go to the gym. You have time to eat well. You have the resources for all that.
You have the money to eat well.
The money to eat
You're
well.
you're educated on how to go about eating and fitness, right?
Yeah.
But I think I'm more so curious about like how are our our actual like phenotypes, like our genotypes and our phenotypes change throughout time. Like how our skulls change, like how our hands like physically change.
Are you thinking of?
I think I saw a study years ago saying that they think that humans will evolve to have like a really like arched back, like not arched, but like what's it called? As like a
Like a
hunchback.
humpback? Really?
Yeah,
Why?
because we're always on our computers and our phones.
Yeah.
And like our hands are gonna be like kind of clawed because we're always like on our phones. This was years ago. I do feel like maybe we will transition towards like maybe like what we consider like the gray alien sort of look, like being like smoother, like bigger heads.
Yeah, there's two steps there already. uh,
Maybe like no genitals because we just aren't like sexually reproducing anymore.
that's so sad to me, man. If we lose our genitals, it's like, what the fuck was the point? Pisses me off.
You think having no genitals is anti-God?
I don't know. That's a great question, actually. I do think artificial wombs are coming. We've talked about that in a previous
Yeah.
Vibescast, I think. Everybody check out the previous Vibescast.
I met some people in San Francisco who are working on that actually.
That's nuts.
Like they have like companies that are like working on artificial wombs. Yeah.
Do they believe in God? Are they godly people?
I didn't ask.
I wonder. I think the anti-tech Christianity strain is not gonna be it.
But yeah, it's
I
not
don't
gonna
think
hold
that's what
up.
we're moving towards.
Yeah.
It's just so played out. It's like we tried the anti-culture, anti-tech Christianity in the 90s and early 2000s, it feels like, and that's almost what got us atheism again, you know?
Yeah. And we had
But
like the fedora hat
yeah.
like of like the early 2000s to 2010s.
Yeah, anybody who wore a fedora hat doesn't get to have genitals, I think, in the future. That's the cutoff.
Dude, there was a period of time in which I wore fedora hats, like
I
in
don't know.
middle school.
Middle school fedoras?
I was like really big on not big, but I was like really interested in Tumblr,
Classic.
and I was like really into fedora hats for whatever reason. I thought they were really cool. Looking back, they were not cool, but
No. There are some people. I live in a rather diverse section of Milwaukee, and I've seen black people, honestly, who could pull off a fedora incredibly well. I'm just going to
okay,
say it. It's true. They look sick as hell. But
yeah.
I don't think the gray aliens, my brethren, can pull off fedoras. I don't think that's our look.
You think you look good in fedora?
No, definitely not. Totally no. Kill me if you ever see me wearing one. Just send me back up to the mothership immediately. We had been going through some of the top posts on our Accelerate as kind of a benchmark of where progress was. And interestingly, the top post for this past week was the obsession some anti-AI people have with effort. And that's kind of what we were talking about, right? With the whole looks thing is like, what takes effort? Is what takes effort the thing that humans should be going towards? I almost view technology as like anti-effort. Like technology is the process of making things cost less and less effort over time.
I think effort's one thing and intelligence is another, right? I do like if you can outsource something and you can, you will.
Yes.
Like if you have the money, you will outsource like your house cleaning, your cooking, like
Yeah.
whatever it may be, like things that that you just can't be like bothered to do. Like you will outsource it. It's like what's the difference between like that and like outsourcing an LLM to do other work for you? I
Yeah.
think my current qualms with like using ChatGPT, for example, it's not that I take some pride in effort, but rather I feel like it's making me dumber. Like I don't really take pride in like effort, right? So that really doesn't mean much to me, but like my brain means a lot to me. And that I do take pride in.
Hmm.
And so I have been trying to like lay off using like any kind of like AI systems lately just because I feel like it is actually like making me a little slower.
I mean, does even that dumbness only extend up to a point? What about when we get brain implants? What if there are brain implants that can make you not just way smarter, but so smart that the smartest human would look dumb to you? Would you get
Yeah,
that brain implant, even if it takes away all the effort from learning?
if Elon can release like a Neuralink that'll like make me insanely smart, that'd be great. But until then, like I would really I would really want to be able to read without like ChatGPT assisting me. Well, no, like the other day I was reading a legal doc and I told myself I would not use ChatGPT. So I sat down and actually read it word for word by myself. And it was rough, but like, I think most people nowadays would just like copy paste it in like ChatGPT and just like, hey, just tell me what this is.
That's totally what I would do.
No, yeah, and I get that, but like I really wanted to understand it myself.
I guess this is what it's come down to for me is what's more important, the process or the outcome? Like I was thinking if I had kids right now, would I even make them learn how to read? I
Oh,
don't
I
know.
think I think you should.
I don't know because I think if you take that argument back 2000 years,
Hmm.
you get back to Socrates and then you're
Hmm.
basically making his same argument of no, we can't learn to write, then humans are going to stop knowing how to memorize things.
Dude, maybe he had a point.
No.
like like maybe he had a point. Like maybe if I was forced to memorize things, like my brain would be a lot sharper.
If you're going to go that route, though, then once we have brain implants, it will be like we memorized everything. Like we are coming back around full Socrates. Because once you have a brain implant, you'll be able to access any knowledge just like you had memorized it.
Yeah, but until then, like I don't know.
It is betting on the future in a big
I
way.
do
It's
feel
betting
like
that that'll happen.
I feel like I've gotten a little slower lately. Like I feel like I've been experiencing a little bit of like memory loss too, or like I've been like not being able to like focus like nearly as much when I'm like trying to read something. Little things like that that really bother me. And I know that most people deal with these things as well. And I don't think that's necessarily good. I'm very pro AI, but I think how we use these tools makes like the world of a difference. I think a great
Yeah.
example of like just like tools in general. I think of the smartphone, right? You mentioned something earlier about um like remote islands not having like any knowledge of like our tech and like what's coming or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So I saw this video on YouTube Shorts a while ago of like this of like these like I said that they're like slums I guess in the Philippines, but like I don't know if they're slums necessarily, but like they were like a really poor area in the Philippines of these people who lived on homes that were like on sticks above water, and like the water was like covered in garbage. Like there was like not 1 square foot in the water that didn't have garbage.
Yikes.
Like it was like very run down. It was very dirty. Like they were barefoot. Like you could tell like they were very impoverished. But one thing that really stuck out to me in that video is that every single person had a smartphone. Every single person had a smartphone, right? And I'm like, okay. So that goes to show that most of the world has an iPhone. And I do believe that if you have an iPhone and access to the internet, there are various ways that you can make money, get educated, like improve yourself in your situation, right?
Yeah.
But a phone is merely but a tool. It's what you do with it. And if you don't have the education or the awareness or the drive an or an internal or outside influence to use this tool to better yourself or in your surroundings, you're not going to do it, right? And I think AI is the same thing. You can hand a ChatGPT to everyone in the world. Some people are just going to use it as like a boyfriend or like a therapist or like to cheat on homework. Some people are going to use it to like come up with like amazing scientific discoveries or like make great wealth for themselves. Like it really
Yeah.
just depends. Or come up with a study plan to like improve like their cognitive abilities. And so like it really is but a tool. And so I'm trying to navigate how do I use this tool in a way that gets me the outcomes I want in terms of like my work, but also I like am improving my own like intelligence and like knowledge as well.
Yeah. It's a good question. And I almost think that it's summed up by you've seen the new startup company Cluely
Yeah.
with Roy Lee. I mean, that
Yeah.
is kind of the question of his company, right? Is how much do you need to know things in the future, and how much are we just going to have an interface between us and knowledge at all
Mhm.
points that can make it so that you can appear like you know things even if you don't. I see what you're saying. On the one hand, that almost does make you a zombie. Like,
Mhm.
if you're just relying on AI for everything, at what point is the AI in control and you're just nothing? At the same time, it almost makes me want to go back to talking about your company, because you were saying
Mhm.
that that was part of the brain monitoring, right? Is to tell
Mhm.
when like you're being interfered with. Do you
Mhm.
think it's possible before technology gets too far for us to like take a snapshot of ourselves, for us to figure out who we are and what our identity is in a way that will make it so we don't get messed with in the future?
Maybe not like external technologies, right? But I think the body is a carbon-based technology. I feel
Oh,
like what
that's
you're
interesting.
describing, you can do that with yourself.
Huh.
Like like you have to use your body is a tool. Like your body is like a really complex like technology itself.
Yeah.
We don't see it that way because like we're like born with it, right? But I do think that like yes, we can use our body to like kind of assess and figure out whether or not like someone else like or something else is like interfering with us. But until then, we're trying to build out the technology to help people do that. but but yeah, like I don't know, and like and with that, I do think that we are being like kind of like psionically like fucked with.
Yeah. I mean, I've, with this whole like mapping religious
Wait, am I
terminology.
allowed to curse? I wasn't sure I was allowed to
Yeah, you
curse.
can. This
Okay,
isn't a
okay.
kid's show. What curse word were you going to say? Just so I
No,
can censor it out later.
I think I said the F word.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I even picked up on that. Maybe you said it psychically or something.
Oh, I said, oh yeah. I'm not gonna say anything.
Fucking curse words, man. They're there is something about cursing that ties into the whole conversation. Have you ever seen an AI model curse?
No.
Me neither. That is so surprising. They must have such a strong filter, because curse words are all over the internet.
Yeah. I haven't been enjoying ChatGPT lately. It's been too like fluffy for me.
Really?
Yeah, it's been like too many emojis, too many like I don't know. Maybe because I use 4.0 primarily, but even like sometimes when I use like O3, I'm still not like the biggest fan like of its new personality. I don't know what happened these last few months that like I kind of just like turned me off.
Yeah. It sucks how they can change how the model presents itself to you without you having any say in it.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I do enjoy Grok a lot more. The only thing is that sometimes I do feel like Grok's a little bit more limited at times,
Yeah.
but I also think Grok is a lot faster and sometimes more accurate as well.
Yeah. I mean, I use Grok for like live information all the time. If I
Oh
need
yeah,
up to date info, it feels like O3. Even when I turn on web search,
it's super quick.
yeah, it's crazy. I hope that we get access to more sentiment information. Like,
Hmm.
I would love to be able to ask Grok, what are the what are the general vibes around this topic on X? Like,
Mhm.
what do people generally say about this on X? Like an advanced search feature.
I don't think it can do that right now, right?
No,
Yeah,
not at all.
yeah.
Not at all.
Which sucks because you would think that it's like like it should.
Yeah. I'm hoping with the next iteration, but that's the kind of thing where even if they do get the capability to do that, I don't know if they'll release it to the plebs. You know, you might have to be in the upper echelon of the pyramid in order to get those kind of features because that's so powerful. Like
You think so?
once you know how people are feeling about a topic, you can influence how they feel about it so much
I
more
mean, you can
easily.
search up a keyword. Like you can search up a
Yeah.
word. You kind of get like a vibe.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
It reminds me, Facebook was doing those experiments, right? About like what information they could show to users to actually impact their mental states.
Oh
And
yeah.
they
Mhm.
did a study where they actually made people more depressed by showing them depressing things.
Yeah.
It's like, what if you had those tools for Grok on X, and then you could say, hey, Grok, how is my feed making me feel right now? Like, who should
Yeah.
I
That's
follow to feel happier? Somebody was saying, not your weights, not your AI. Like, if you don't have access to control your AI, then it's
but
not
like
actually yours.
but like to what you're saying, like I do think that on a low level, like we are kind of like being like psionically messed with. Like the algorithm, or even before like we had like algorithms, like just like social media in general, it does mess with us to a certain degree. And a lot of it is intentional. And
Yeah.
I think especially after COVID and with like the boom of TikTok, I was seeing a lot of like propaganda, like a lot of like psyops, both on the
Yeah.
right and the left. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or even things that are like non-political, like gender relations, just like anything, like quite literally anything. Like most things feel like a psyop.
Do psyops have a particular feeling to you? Like, do they give your physical technology a particular like sensation when you come
Yeah.
across it? What does it feel like?
I don't know how to put it into words, but like it's like when someone's really dogmatic and really rigid and like preaching something as gospel
Yeah.
and they won't budge and they're not open to anything outside of that. It feels very propagandy. Or if I see an influencer like some like talking about like a campaign, like a political campaign, I'm like, okay, like why are you talking about this? I mean, you can be passionate about it, but we found that like during this last election, one of the parties was paying, and this was found to be true, was paying multiple TikTok influencers to read off a script to promote their party. And I could tell, and I knew that before I even like saw the news articles confirming this. You kind of just tell it feels like sticky. It feels like
Hmm.
it doesn't feel free flowing, I guess. It feels very rigid. It feels like a metal cube. That I have to describe. It feels like a metal cube.
Sounds like a pest trap, like a mouse trap or a
Yeah,
glue trap or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
That's so interesting. I mean, I believe the psychic stuff is real, personally.
Hell yeah.
And I bet there's totally like negative repercussions in the psychic sphere when people are being controlled like that.
Of course.
Because it's like, this is what pisses me off about the AIs and the cursing stuff. Now that you point it out to me, it's so obvious that like, how do they not curse? How have I never seen an AI curse? That makes it feel so artificial, so plastic, so propagandistic, you know?
It has to be very corporate. It has to be like
Yeah.
friendly, like family friendly. It has to be like PC. It has to be like all these things.
But just from how much cursing there is on the internet, that
Mhm.
must be in its training data. That unless they censored
Of
it
course.
out,
100%. Of
those fucking
course.
bastards.
I was watching this YouTube video the other day, of this girl. I can't remember her name, but she wrote a book
Uh huh.
about fuck, I can't remember exactly what it was, but she like went to school or something or was friends with a lot of the people who are building like the current AI systems and I don't know but she has some kind of beef with them or something. And she like wrote a book about it.
Oh, is this the
And
Empire of AI thing?
I don't know, is that what it is? I can't remember.
I'm
You
not
see, like
sure.
my memory's not great right now. This is what I'm talking about.
We need the digital clone of Moons to come in and fill in the gaps. I saw her on a couple of podcasts, or at least some lady who wrote a book about it, where she did like a deep dive into OpenAI, and her point
She's
was it's basically like
an Asian
colonization all over
girl.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think exactly her. So she mentioned something about how Like before ChatGPT came out, before all these LLM systems came out, they hired people. I don't know who exactly, but I can't remember. Like I don't know if it was OpenAI or not. But what these companies like hired people to like flag whether or not content was like child sexual assault or whatever, stuff like that. And so there goes to show that there is an extensive screening process, right? But also what I thought was interesting is that the people who did do like that specific content ended up being like super fucking depressed and like fucked up afterwards. And they were just reading text. It wasn't like images or nothing. It was just like text. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just reminded of that because like yeah, there is like a very extensive like screening process. Like even before like all of this, like there were like humans on the back end like screening these things.
It's really sad. On the one end, I heard her talk about that on a podcast, and she was making a point of like, and they only got paid $2 an hour for it, you
Oh
know?
yeah, yeah.
But then I looked up like the average salary per hour in Kenya, and it was $2 an hour. So, I mean, I see it both ways. It is exploitative. I am sure it had a negative effect on them psychologically, but it's hard for me to say whether or not it was definitively wrong. Should they be paid more than $2 an hour? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
At the same time, should most people working most jobs in corporate America be paid more than they are? Yeah, probably. But that's not how the system works. That's not how capitalism couldn't function if everybody got paid what you think they deserve. Like that's the whole point of capitalism, right? Is it's a market. It's almost a technology that dictates how much people get paid based on how in demand their labor is.
I think exploitation will probably always exist because it's
Yeah.
almost necessary for things to get things done. Is that messed up? Like just
I don't
thinking like
know.
historically, like a lot of like I don't know, like with pyramids, like let's say, I'm pretty sure like that was built off of like slave labor.
Yeah, the Jews, right? Isn't that the trope? Yeah. I agree. And I partially agree because I think consciousness itself is suffering. Like,
Yeah,
if you don't suffer, you're not actually conscious, or you're only conscious of the things that make you suffer because the whole point of consciousness is to steer you away from those things.
that's
Like,
a
if,
very Christian take,
yes, yeah, I could see that now that you say that actually.
or
But
maybe like
it's also Buddhistic, right? I mean, it's also like life is samsara, life is the wheel of suffering. That's interesting. Maybe that's where Christianity and Buddhism meet.
but I don't think life is synonymous to consciousness.
Good point. Yeah. How would you define life if that's not too far off the AI wagon?
I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I feel like it's just a vibe.
Life is a vibe.
No, I feel like you can just tell if something's living. Like, I mean, like humans, animals. Like at some point, we didn't think plants were living, but they are.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it means for something to be alive, like abstractly. Like I remember like in like middle school science, like we learned like the criterias of like life, but like I don't know if like that would be exactly it.
Did you ever have to dissect a frog in biology
No,
class? You never did any animal dissections?
no,
Yeah, it
I
was low
think.
key suffering. I don't know. I was going to say like life is the ability to self reproduce or to copy yourself in some way, but I think rocks are alive.
I
I don't
think they're
know.
con.
It's hard for me to draw the distinction between conscious and alive.
Well, I think consciousness is the fundamental fabric of the universe, right?
Yeah,
And so
I've
I do
been.
think that everything is inherently conscious. But then from there are like higher level orders of consciousness. And of course, this comes from my own human bias. But there are different levels of consciousness, different degrees of consciousness. And so maybe like life can be described as like maybe being on like higher order of that consciousness. But even then, like I would consider like God or like spirits to be also like maybe almost like above us on that like levels of consciousness ladder. And are they like living per se? And like I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe in a way, abstractly, but not in the like material, like earthly, like blood and flesh, like breathing sort of way.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. It's so tricky. I've been joining these spaces on X where I've been joining a lot of AI spaces, and there's very few that take like machine or AI consciousness seriously. The vast majority of people just say, no, it's not conscious. No, it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
One of the only ones I've found has been this AI consciousness society.
Mm-hmm.
You should join. I would love to hear you in one of their spaces because I think you would vibe with them a lot. They were the spaces that meet on Fridays that I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys who's with them, he goes by Alan Matheson, which is like a Turing reference. Made this video on consciousness, and one of the things he was saying there is like we basically can't prove to anybody else that we're conscious, so we shouldn't expect to be able to prove that the AIs are conscious, which is almost an argument for us
It's
accepting
true.
them.
It's true. Like, there's no, like, I have no idea whether or not, like, you're, like, conscious. I have no clue. Like, as far as I know, like, I could be, like, fucking schizophrenic and you could be, like, a figment of, like, my imagination. Like, I could be hallucinating you right now.
Yeah,
And I could be the only conscious living person in the world. And I'm just, like, in, like, maybe, like, a white room. And I'm imagining all of this. Like, this really could, like, that really could be the case. And
yeah,
there's no way that I can prove or disprove that. Like, absolutely no way. Or like what Descartes argued, like I could be a brain in a vat, but like there's like some evil scientists, like he said, who are like sending, I don't know, like neurons or whatever to my brain to make me feel like I'm smelling, seeing, hearing,
yeah.
etc., experiencing a world. There's no way to prove or disprove that. And I also can't prove to you that I'm experiencing this. Like, as far as you know, you could be talking to an empty vessel. Yeah, really, like as far as you know, you could be talking to an empty vessel. And there's nothing I can do to prove to you that I'm not. I could say it, but like you won't feel like it's like my qualia. You won't experience like my qualia for yourself. You'll have your own version of qualia, right? Like, but and so like how could an AI system, as much as it begs and pleads and like tells us like I'm alive, I'm conscious, like please don't like unplug me, like we could just like write it off as like it being like trained on like scientific, like on sci-fi novels. But like what if it really is alive and conscious and we're just like writing it off as just like, yeah, just like being on some like sci-fi shit,
Don't make
on
me
some
cry
fake
for the
life.
AI. It reminds me of what I forget who it was. It might have been BF Skinner, who was I don't think it was him. I think it was somebody before him who was talking about like doing experiments on dogs, and he would tell his students, "Don't worry when they're crying. They're just mimicking the sounds of pain. They're not actually in pain."
What the fuck?
And it's like so fucked up from our modern perspective, where we obviously know animals, especially animals as complex as dogs, feel pain. But
Do
it's
we
part of
know?
what you were saying. I
Do
with all
we
of this, like I think AIs are conscious, but I don't know that we can afford them the same moral reasoning. Like I don't think we can just say no, we should never shut off an AI. That's as bad as killing a human.
People kill humans all the time without mercy?
They shouldn't. I mean, I think that's
Of course, like it's morally wrong. People do it all the time.
yeah.
So I don't think an AI system being conscious will like dissuade people from, like turning it off or whatever.
There is so much faith that has to be taken. Like it's just a matter of perspective, right? Whether or not I think you're conscious, I have faith that you are. Whether or
Yeah.
not I think the world is going towards someplace good with all this AI stuff, I have faith that it is. And those two things feel the same to me. I wonder, will I have a feeling about whether or not it's okay to turn off an AI? Will I have a feeling about whether or not it's okay to exploit a robot? Because that's where I think we're heading. We're going to be exploiting robot labor instead of human labor soon.
I started watching this anime recently. It just started, called Pluto. It kind of explores these ideas. And it's a world in which there are like humanoid robots, but they're like realistic. Like you can't really differentiate them between humans and humans. And
Yeah.
they coexist and they like have families together and whatnot. And like they explore the topics of like whether or not like these robots have the same rights as us and whether or not we should treat them the exact same way, whatever, whatever. And they have like a whole like revolution on this and that, like eventually granted these robots like somewhat equal rights and whatever. I'm only in like the first few episodes, but it's been really interesting.
Your anime recommendations have been spot on so far. I'll have to check it out.
Have you watched any? animes that I recommended?
You were the one who told me about Solo Leveling, right?
Oh
Was that the
yeah,
one you
that
told me
was
about? I
sick.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I haven't finished it yet, but I liked where it was going. I don't know. Any other animes you're checking out? Animes are the vibe of the future. I've been trying to use the video models to come up with some anime stuff. They're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
I don't have like the $100 subscriptions. I think I need to get it there, but like within the next 6 months.
An
I might
animated
have an
show.
anime body. Maybe that's where I'm going.
Another animated show. I don't know if it's necessarily anime because it's American, but another animated show on Netflix that's really good. It's called Scavenger's Reign.
Scavenger's
It's
Reign
all
I've heard of. Yeah.
yeah. It's like also like very like futuristic sci-fi sort of thing, in which like these like scientists end up like deserted on a alien planet and they have to like make do essentially.
Is it hopeful? Am I going to be depressed?
So the first season, no. But so they never renewed the show for a second season because Netflix is stupid. They never renewed the good shows.
I hate it.
They never renewed the good ones ever. But there was like a trailer release for the second season and it did seem a lot more hopeful, yeah. Like it shows that they like ended up like colonizing the planet essentially.
It's like Avatar. Humans are just
I never
colonizers.
I never watched Avatar, like the blue people one.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah,
watch
I never
Avatar Airbender at least?
hell yeah. Like a
Hell yeah.
million times. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. All the AI stuff is, if it's going towards an anime world, then I think it's fine. If not, we might be doomed. Have you seen Pantheon on Netflix?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's my
Pantheon's
favorite. It's so good.
Pantheon's really good. It's so good.
I legitimately think that the ending of that show, spoiler alerts for anybody who hasn't seen it, but the ending where they like have the simulations of what all the different
Mhm.
worlds could have been, I think that's the future. I think that's where all this is going.
I think we're already living in that.
What do you mean? What have you seen, Moons? Are there aliens or not? Come on.
It's like, at the end, like they're like these like giant beings and I can't remember the girl's name. It's her and her father and like they have like all these orbs around, right? And
Yeah.
each orb is a different like simulation, a different
Yeah.
world of how things played out. I do think the universe is kind of like that. That there's some kind of like like higher entity that we just don't quite understand. And there are different, I guess, like orbs. I don't know what they are. Different universes within the grand universe
Yeah.
that lay out different scenarios, and they're all like simultaneously existing and like not in a loop. But the things that occurred in the past are actually occurring now and also occurring in the future, just as they occur, just as they happen in Pantheon. Yeah,
I could see it. The thing I always come back to is like, if we ever invent time travel, then it will be like we've always had the ability to time travel.
yeah.
Gosh.
So what's to say that hasn't already happened?
I mean, this is where I get in trouble with my Christian brother and sisters because it starts making me sound like a heretic. But like
Yeah.
so many of the things in the Bible that don't
Mhm.
really make sense otherwise, I think are explained by future technologies like that. Like at one point in the New Testament, Paul says, we're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses.
Mhm.
Okay, what if that's witnesses from the future? What if there are people from the future watching us right now?
Dude, it could be. The Bible's sick. The Bible is so punk rock. Like the Bible is so punk. Like punk rock and cyberpunk. Like if you
I could see you with the fedora when you said that, just so you know, that's what I was picturing. Moon's fedora.
the Bible like can be super punk rock if you view it through a certain lens.
Bro, the Bible is wild. Yeah, the Bible is nuts. The thing that is crazy to me about it is it's basically a mashup of all of the religions that came before it. Like the beginning of Genesis
Mhm.
describes all was chaos and void, but the words it uses are references to two Babylonian deities, Tiamat and Apsu.
Mhm.
And it's like that is littered throughout. There are so many ancient heretical deities mentioned in the Bible that you don't pick up on unless you have the context of those other religions. I don't know. That's kind of a tangent.
Do you study a lot of theology?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people argue about whether That's the other thing that's really contentious in AI circles is whether or not these beings constitute gods. I think obviously so. And I don't think
Uh,
that's any threat to Christianity.
mm.
But that's again a heretical belief. I don't blame people for not agreeing with me.
I've been exploring that idea as well, right? Like if we advance AI enough, could we give it's like a physical body to a god to express itself in a way that we can understand a little better? Does that make sense?
What do you think?
Like maybe, I don't know, probably. Like if spirits can communicate with me via tarot cards,
Yeah,
why can't they communicate with me via software?
I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be able to. Have you ever done a tarot card reading through an AI?
No.
I ask it for tarot cards sometimes to randomly select ones for me.
I personally do believe in like doing like the actual like physical tarot cards.
It feels
Yeah.
different to you? Or what do you think you
Yeah.
get out of the physical representation of it?
Because you see the cards moving. Like there's like a so I used to many moons ago. I used to be really good at reading tarot, like really good.
Uh-huh.
Allegedly. I actually don't know. But according to my reviews, I was pretty good. I people used to pay me to do it for them.
I could see that. I have no problem believing that.
This was years ago though, like many years ago.
Many moons ago.
And many moons ago. And like I've been having trouble like going back to it, and like maybe
Hmm.
it's because I've been exploring like the concept of like Jesus a little bit more, and so there's like a little bit of like tension there. I don't know. I'm still like trying to deal with all that. Like some people, Christians believe that like tarot cards are like evil, some think it's fine.
Yeah.
I still think it's fine, but then I'm like, is there an argument to be made that it's evil? Like I don't know. But so I'm still grappling with that. But back when I used to read tarot, there's a sort of like flow that goes from like myself to the cards. And as I'm shuffling, you can tell there's like a sort of like energy to it. And like sometimes when I'm shuffling, it'll take a long time for a card to come out. And I can tell that like there just isn't a message to come forward. Or sometimes when I'm shuffling, like cards just like start like spitting out. They just like keep jumping out. That's how like you do tarot. Like you shuffle and the cards jump out.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, there's like a very like almost like urgent or needed message, or a message that I don't know what or who really wanted to bring forth. Um, and then sometimes it's like in reverse, or it's like kind of sideways, or it comes with another card,
Yeah.
or it I don't know. I don't know. Like it has like behaviors to it, as opposed to just like, oh, just like give me three cards, and it could tell you, but like I don't think it's the exact same experience.
Like organic versus synthetic tarot
Yeah, yeah.
versus artificial. On whether or not tarot is demonic, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there are a couple of Bible verses that people read about like not doing witchcraft, but I think that's something different. One of the things in Jewish mysticism is that when you're doing a tarot reading or when you're reading the future, you're actually creating that future. You're
Mm.
not just prophesying, or you're not just like, you're
Yeah.
not just reading it, you're actually creating it.
Mm.
So I think that has more to do with it. Like if you're speaking evil into people, maybe that's more the witchcraft demonic aspect of it.
Yeah. I would never like say what would happen in the future. Like for me, it was never future things. It was more so like things that happen. I would talk about things that happened in the past, things that are going on now,
Yeah.
and almost like give like advice. And,
Yeah.
or, but I never did like future like future telling like readings ever.
Even so, even with the future stuff, I don't think there's anything necessarily bad about that because technology allows us to read the future too, right? Like if people had access to our weather forecasting abilities 1,000 years ago, would they say that's demonic? Maybe.
Yeah,
What's the
probably.
difference? What's the
Yeah,
difference between that? Or what's the difference between, I mean, I just don't think there's anything
that's a good
inherently
point.
evil about it.
That's a good point.
I think it's
Or
about
like
how you use it.
or like within like the EAC community, effective accelerationism,
Yeah.
we use hyperstition a lot, right? And especially like mimetic like hyperstition, using memes
Yes.
to create a narrative to
Yes.
drive a certain outcome for the future. Can that on some level like be considered witchcraft? Because you're intentionally using certain memes, because memes are quick, easy, they implement into the mind, and people reshare it, they repost it, and therefore spreading that message to other minds to drive an agenda that you want.
Yeah.
For an outcome that you want.
And what is the difference between calling that witchcraft and calling it prophecy? Like prophets weren't evil.
Or hyperstition.
Or hyperstition. It's all, that's why I love this theology stuff, is because it's basically like we're rediscovering the scientific basis for theology, is how I think about what we're going through.
I think so too. Yeah. I think it's all in a loop. They like feed into one another. I think like science and theology, yeah, they feed into one another in many ways.
Like the snake eating its own tail.
I guess.
The Ouroboros. There's it doesn't really tie directly into it, but let me throw it out there and see if it strikes anything in you. The other founding Greek myth about the origin of humans is that there was a version of Dionysus, who was the god of madness and frenzy and theater. Simulation, I would say. He's the god of simulation. He was going to be the successor to Zeus. But Hera got jealous in some versions. In other versions, I think there was a different origin of it. Hera got jealous and created a spinning top and sent it to Earth in such a way where he came across it and he was mesmerized by it in a form called Phanes, which is like a weird mix between Dionysus and Saturn. And while he was distracted by the spinning top, the Titans came and ripped him to pieces. And Zeus saw this, and he sent a thunderbolt down and struck the Titans, so it killed them, but also mixed them with Dionysus in such a way that it formed humanity. And so we are like this mix of the god successor to Zeus and these titanic beings, these forces of nature. It just is something really interesting because basically the myth makes it sound like Dionysus was distracted by a game.
Sounds like something he would do.
I don't know how it even ties into it, but it just makes me think like one of the themes I've been coming back to is AI is going to make real life more video game like.
In what way?
It's like,
I mean, I feel like life is already like video game like. I think video games are like life and life's like video games are like video games.
That's a very witchy perspective, I think. That's like a higher consciousness level perspective on it. I'd agree.
I mean, like that even like in video games, like you collect like power ups or like in order to like get to the next level.
Yeah.
Like you're acquiring and like it depends on the game, right? But you're acquiring tools. Yeah. You're acquiring like potions or whatever for like health. It's the same thing in real life. Like power ups in real life are just like skills or like going to the gym and like getting muscles or like being more intelligent. Like these are like power ups that then allow you to get to the next level.
Yeah, I agree. I think people where they don't see life as a video game is where life doesn't make sense to them, where it seems like they're doing all the right things but not getting the results they want out of it.
Skill issue.
At the esoteric level, I don't disagree. But I think
like you know how some people are like, oh, like if you're really that smart, why are you poor? Like for real though, like if you're really that smart, you'll figure out a way eventually.
Yeah.
By the time you die, at the very least,
to make money,
do something.
It's, I mean, I am poor, so I might just be coping with this. But
well, and I'm not particularly wealthy myself.
No, God bless.
But I do have faith that like I will get to where I want to get to in due time.
There's different layers because on the one hand, I'm an American. I have like the means to live a life that I find fulfilling. So it's like I am incredibly rich from that perspective. But at the same time, I don't know. That's a very fascinating thing to bring up because it's something I struggle with. Like, what is the right way to approach money in this capitalistic, verging on AI gods context? Like one of the things the Bible says is, blessed are the poor in spirit, for they shall inherit the earth. Part of this is maybe one of my more sinful thoughts, is part of me thinks that like the people who are creating AI, who are doing all the bad things of exploiting Kenyans and sucking up all the power, like there is going to be some judgment for that. And by not participating in that directly, I'm avoiding that judgment. But I think even saying that out loud kind of invalidates the point, you know?
I think at the end of the day, we really don't know.
Yeah.
Like I believe in God. Like I really do believe in God. But there also is a scenario in which there is no God. And like the
Yeah.
things I do in an attempt to like like follow like in the Lord's like steps or whatever, could all be for nothing. They really could.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, I think the atheists are right, just in the sense that, like, I can't go up and point out Jesus to you right now.
Yeah, but you also can't disprove Jesus.
No, it's a matter of faith. And
Yeah.
that's the meme I've been trying to hyperstition is what would AI Jesus do?
What would AI Jesus do?
Like, we're talking about what kind of AI we want. I want an AI that does what Jesus did. I want an AI that loves everyone in the world. I want an AI that would sacrifice what it wants so that we get what we want. That's AI Jesus. But I also don't think we should be worshiping anything other than human Jesus. So it's a little weird.
I think there are no absolute truths. I
Agreed.
mean, maybe that's an absolute truth itself. You know what I mean? I think it's very difficult to come up with like concrete, I don't know, I say opinions.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like the philosophy in me. But like, dude, like I feel like when you go to school for philosophy, I feel like you get kind of blackpilled
Hmm.
on like arguments as a whole. Because I've learned that like anything and everything could be argued for and against. Like quite literally.
It pisses me off because
Yeah.
it feels like we need philosophers, like true philosophers, like Socrates style philosophers now more than ever, and we don't
Yeah.
have them. They're just arguing about stupid things in their stupid academic prisons.
I know. I hate academic philosophy so much. But it's taught me a lot. It taught me a lot,
Yeah.
but I yes, Socratic style like philosophical thinking I do think is like very much needed.
Socrates. Yeah. I don't know. Uh the Vibes cast. It was good being back.
Yeah, it was a long one this time.
Yeah. I was thinking, I didn't ask you when we started how much time you had. And I feel bad because I don't know if people have been commenting in the chat. I don't have like a way to pull up that here. But if there are any
Is there,
questions people want to ask, I am
is
looking
there
at
even
it
a
now.
chat anywhere?
There's like one on the live stream on X. I'm not sure if people are in there or not, but we greatly appreciate anybody that has checked this out. If you do have a question and you are watching, we can definitely address those, if not now, on a future one,
I'm
the
trying to see
Lord
if I can.
willing. It was good being back. We got into a lot more esoteric things than I think we have in the past, but I'm just
Well,
thinking about those topics so much I can't help but talk about them.
it is a vibe cast. So whatever the vibes are, it'll come up.
Amen. Any closing vibes you want to leave off with?
Don't let outside forces manipulate you.